So students, today we are going to start another new chapter. The name of the chapter is Scrooge and the Ghost. This is your chapter 4, and this is taken from a novel. Actually, you will find it in a cartoon form, but the original writing is not in the cartoon form. It is in the form of a novel. So please try to follow this chapter that we are going to do today. Okay. So the following extract has been taken from Charles Dickens's novel, A Christmas Carol. You know what is a Christmas carol? Carol means a song, a religious song, a hymn that is usually sung in the church at the time of Christmas or throughout the year in the church. These religious songs are called carols. So the name of this novel is A Christmas Carol and is written by Charles Dickens. Here our main character is Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge is an old man. He is very miserly. Miserly means one who doesn't want to spend money. Very stingy fellow, who hated everything and everyone. He doesn't like anything in this world. He hated all people. He hated all things. And especially where if you have to spend some money, he hated that most. He doesn't want to spend a pie also. Such a character was. Very cold, very stingy, very miserly, mean fellow he was. He only liked his old friend and his business partner, whose name was Jacob Marley. Now, Jacob Marley was just as greedy as and mean like Scrooge. He was same as Scrooge, greedy and mean, and so they were both friends, and this is the only person that our Scrooge liked. Marley, however, had been dead for 7 years, but his friend, this Jacob Marley, he is not alive. He died 7 years back, and which meant that Scrooge hated everything and everyone. And this means that Scrooge now hates everything and everyone. The only person he liked was no more. So there was nothing or no one in this whole world for him to like or love. The one thing that he seemed to hate most of all was Christmas. The thing that he hated most was Christmas. You know why? Because Christmas is a time when people are full of happiness, full of joy, full of laughter, and it's a time when people spend. They spend to buy gifts for their loved ones. They give gifts, they also receive gifts, they eat good things, and they spend a lot in their different kind of dishes and all, and in the new clothes and gifts. So this is the time when people have to spend much. Just like during here in our place, you know that during Durga Puja or during Eid, you all spend a lot and try to be happy, buying new clothes and getting good food and going places. So all this require money, and that is why our Scrooge hated Christmas very much, because he didn't like to spend money on anyone. All that, however, was about to change, but this mean fellow and this fellow who hated Christmas so deeply was about to change. Something would happen in his life that would change him. Let us read on. Okay. On one Christmas Eve, it was the Christmas Eve, means the next day would be Christmas. So someone comes to him, "Merry Christmas, Uncle Scrooge." So we know that it is his nephew. The name is not mentioned here, but we know the name is Fred. Okay, if you go through the original text, you will find that the Fred is the nephew of Scrooge, and he is a poor fellow, a poor boy, but full of happiness and joy for the coming Christmas. So he comes to wish his Uncle Scrooge Merry Christmas. Now, whenever if someone comes to wish you happy Eid, happy Puja, happy Diwali, will you scold him? No. But Uncle Scrooge is not like others. He is different. So he said, merry, bah, humbug. He said, what is to be merry? Merry means happy. What is to be happy during Christmas? It's only a humbug. Humbug means something that is used to trick people. Christmas, a humbug? You don't mean that, uncle? And his nephew is surprised. He said, Christmas and you are calling it a humbug? You really don't mean that? Why are you so merry? You are poor enough. Now Scrooge says, now, you are a poor boy. And a poor boy cannot be happy during Christmas because he cannot spend much to be happy. He cannot buy new clothes. He cannot buy good food to be happy. Or he cannot even give expensive gifts to someone. So you are poor enough. Why are you so merry? It is not for you to be merry. Why must you be angry? So angry. You are rich enough. Then Fred also is a very humorous fellow. He said, then why are you angry? You are rich enough. This Scrooge is a rich man. You are rich enough. So you should not be sad. You should not be angry. You should be happy. Besides, it isn't wealth that makes Christmas merry. It's the love and happiness it brings. Besides, our wealth does not make the Christmas happy. It's the love and the happiness that Christmas brings that makes people happy. There are so many poor people, but don't they enjoy during Puja and Eid and Diwali? They enjoy. During Christmas, they enjoy. It doesn't mean that you have to be wealthy to enjoy the religious festivals. Come for Christmas lunch tomorrow. You will see Christmas is meant to be spent with family and loved ones. So he goes away and he invites his uncle to come for Christmas to his house for lunch the next day. To see that Christmas is meant to be spent with family and loved ones. That time they do not do any work. They spend their time happily with their family, with the children, with the parents, with their uncles and aunts, and they eat good food and they really sing songs and go out to church to pray. It's a family occasion and that is to be spent with the family and the near and dear ones, the loved ones. So he invites his old and lonely uncle to come and see for himself how Christmas is a happy or merry event. Humbug, I say. And he gets angry and he again says, humbug, it's a tricky thing. So Christmas doesn't have any value for this miserly old man. Later that night, just before bed, he hears the rattle of chains. So after the Fred goes away, and it is like night almost, he eats his cold supper and he goes to his cold bed because there is no one with him. He is a lonely man. He doesn't even have family because he didn't marry for want of money. He doesn't want to spend his money. So he lives his life all alone. So he eats his cold supper and he goes to his cold bed. But then he suddenly hears the rattle of chains as if someone has come dragging heavy chains around. It is his first supernatural guest, his old friend Marley. And then he wakes up and sees, he opens his eyes and sees a supernatural guest has come. Supernatural means not earthly, unearthly guest, like a ghost. And he sees clearly that this ghost or this supernatural guest is no one but his old friend Marley. Jacob Marley has come. You know, Jacob Marley died 7 years back. So his ghost has come to talk with Scrooge. What is that rattling I hear? Who's there? He wakes up and he says to himself, what is that rattling sound? What is that noise I hear? Who is there? It's me. I have come to give you a message, Ebenezer Scrooge. And the ghost comes and says, it's me. I have come to give you a message, Ebenezer Scrooge. So listen to me. Oh, well, what is it? Like me, you too will be chained down by the misdeeds of your life. Change your unkind ways. Then this ghost warns him that I was greedy, I was stingy, I was miserly like you, I was mean, I was rough, I was unkind. And so I did a lot of misdeeds in my life. And so after my life, after my death, I have been chained by the misdeeds. Each part of the shackle, the chain, is one misdeed that he represents, that he did in his lifetime. So he is now bound by chains all over. And he has to drag these chains wherever he goes. He has no rest, he has no peace. So he warns Scrooge that like me, you will also be changed after your death. And this will be chained down by the misdeeds of your life. So change your unkind ways. Be kind to people. Do not be rough. Do not treat everyone cruelly. Be merry, be happy, and be sacrificial. Sacrifice your things for the happiness of others. So you have to change your unkind ways. Otherwise, you will also suffer what I am suffering now. Humbug. Tonight you will have 3 more ghostly visits. Learn from them. Change. You have been warned. And he comes to warn that tonight there will be 3 more ghosts coming to visit you. And learn from them. They will come not to frighten you, but they will come to teach you something. So learn from them and change yourself. You have been warned. Now you have been warned, so I am going. With that, Marley's ghost left Scrooge to wait. So Marley's ghost went away, disappeared, and Scrooge was waiting because 3 more ghosts were supposed to come. Not long after, the first of the spirit emerged. And it was not very long time, very soon, the first spirit, the first ghost came to Scrooge. Here everything is not mentioned. If you go through the text, you will find that 3 ghosts, ghosts of Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future will come. The 3 ghosts will come. The first will take him to his past life. He will take back Scrooge to the past life of Scrooge. The second ghost will come, ghost of Christmas present, will come to show him the present ways, how he is living his life. And the ghost of the Christmas future will come and will show him what will happen after his death. So these 3, past, present and future, when Scrooge sees them, he will change himself altogether. Okay. So when the first ghost, the spirit comes, Scrooge says, "Who are you?" "I am the ghost of Christmas past. Come with me, Ebenezer Scrooge." And the ghost says, "I am the ghost of Christmas past. Come with me." And he takes Scrooge back to his past life when Scrooge was a little boy, a school student. Without thinking, Scrooge took the spirit's hand and was transported to, and he took the hand of the spirit and he was transported to his past life. "I know this place. This is my old school. Who is that child?" And he goes to the place which is his school, where Ebenezer Scrooge, when he was a schoolboy, he was a little child, he used to read in that school. And as soon as the ghost takes him to the school in his past life, he recognizes and says, "I know this place. This is my old school. Who is that child? And I can see a child here, a lonely child sitting and crying. Who is that child?" "Why, it's me, all alone on Christmas Eve. I remember." And he says, "Yes, it is me." And now he remembers that he was all alone in the school. No one came to take him when he was a small child. And it was Christmas Eve. And he was crying bitterly because no one came till that time to take him to home. He was in the school. The spirit transports Scrooge once more to the same schoolroom a few Christmas Eves later. And now the spirit transports him again to the same schoolroom after some years. Okay. It is in flashback that the Scrooge of the present time, the old Scrooge, sees the young Scrooge as a schoolboy. "Brother, I have come to take you home at last." "Oh, my dear Fan, what a young lady you have become." And now he recognizes that this woman who has come, it was his sister who has come to take him home on the Christmas Eve, and he was so happy. She was a kind and gentle person. It is a pity she died so young. But Scrooge's sister died very young, and the Fred who came, the nephew who came, was actually the son of this sister. Okay. So now Scrooge remembers that yes, she was a very kind and gentle person. How good his sister was. It is a pity that she died so young, and it is really very sad that his sister died very young. Yes, but her kindness lives on in her son, your nephew Fred. Okay, and the ghost reminds him that yes, though your sister died, but the kindness of his sister is still living in, that is your nephew, the son of your sister, that is Fred, who is very lively, jolly fellow, who came to wish Merry Christmas. And remember, Scrooge turned him away with cruel words, unkind words. For a moment, Scrooge felt uneasy. Now Scrooge felt very uneasy, uncomfortable, but he did not know why. Suddenly, the room melted away, and suddenly he saw that that schoolroom was no more. It melted away, disappeared. He now stood in a familiar London office, next to a familiar old man. Now, after some years, again, he sees his past. Now he is in a very familiar, very known London office. And he is next to a very familiar old man. Ebenezer Scrooge. It's old Fizwick. This is where Dick Wilkins and I apprenticed. And he remembers that it is old Fizwick. And he, Dick Wilkins and Ebenezer Scrooge, both of them apprenticed at that place under this guidance of this Fizwick. Okay. Ebenezer, Dick, time to clear up. There's a Christmas party to throw. And this man, that is Fizwick, he was telling them at that time in the past, time to clear up the office. There's a Christmas party to throw today. So arrange everything beautifully. Today we'll have a party and we'll have a lot of joy and happiness. Later that evening, the office has been transformed and is overflowing with revelers. And later that evening, Scrooge sees that the office was transformed and is full of revelers. Revelers means people who come to make merry, to enjoy. Such a small party to be so happy about. And the ghosts of the Christmas past asks him, there is such a small party and what is there to be happy about? He pinches Scrooge. Okay. Don't you see, it doesn't matter that it's small. It's Fizwick's kindness that made us merry. Now Scrooge realizes and sees it doesn't matter that it's a small party, but it was Fizwick's kindness that made us so happy and we enjoyed so much at that party that night. Enough, enough, I have seen enough, I beg no more. And Ebenezer Scrooge now realizes his fault. And he says, enough, enough, I have seen enough, I don't want to see any more. Old Scrooge begged to be shown no more, and he begged the ghost, please show me no more, I don't want to see any more. Because he realized his fault, that he was very unkind, he was very cruel. But there were two ghosts yet to come. Who knows what they might show him? Or was this all just a horrible nightmare? And there were two more ghosts to come, and they were to show him the present and the future. Now, the author asks a question, if it was all just a horrible nightmare, a bad dream, or it was all real. Okay. Now, you must be all very excited to know what happened to Scrooge. Well, let me tell you in brief, because it is not there in your book. So, if you are anxious, you're curious enough to know what happened to Ebenezer Scrooge, let us go to I'll just in a brief, it's not in the form of story, I'll tell you what happened to him. Okay. So, the second Christmas, sorry, 1 minute, let me find out. Well, this ghost also shows him another third scene. Okay. Here Scrooge sees a lovely woman whom he once loved, but he left her for the sake of money. I told you earlier that he did not even marry. The ghost tells him that the girl named Belle is now a happy woman with 4 children. So the woman whom he left for the sake of money, he did not marry, is now a very happy woman with 4 children. Once more Scrooge realizes what he has lost while chasing more and more money, ignoring charity, benevolence. And now Scrooge realizes that he lost everything, all the precious things in life, chasing after money and money and money, more and more money. And he ignored charity, he ignored benevolence, he ignored kindness. The ghost goes on, but another comes at 2 a.m. Then at 2 a.m. comes the ghost of Christmas present. And he takes Scrooge first to a church and a ship where the people are happy celebrating Christmas. Then Scrooge is taken to the home of his poor clerk. He has a clerk who is serving under him, Cratchit. Cratchit has 5 children, and the 5th one, Tim, is a crippled children. Cripple means one who cannot walk, is a handicapped child. They don't have much to eat or drink, yet they are happy. This clerk is a poor man because Scrooge gives him very less money. So they don't have much to eat or drink. Still they are very happy. They are enjoying Christmas. Cratchit proposes the first drink to Scrooge in spite of some mild protest from his wife. Scrooge is touched by the generosity of the part of the Cratchit, and Cratchit proposes Scrooge the first drink. Though they were poor, but he offers generously the drink, and Scrooge is touched by the generosity of this poor clerk. He pities Tim. Now he is changed, and a changed person decides to do something for his poor family. And now Scrooge starts to change, and he starts to do something. He wants to contribute something for this poor family. In the end, the third ghost takes Scrooge to a tombstone with the name Scrooge on it. And now comes the third ghost, the ghost of Christmas future. And the ghost asks Scrooge to read the inscription. Now he takes Scrooge to a tombstone. Tombstone means a place where a person is buried and a monument is erected on which the name of the person who died, his year of birth, year of death, everything is mentioned. Okay. And the ghost asks Scrooge to read the inscription. But Scrooge understands that it is his tombstone. So he is afraid and he refuses to read. Scrooge is shown as a dead man whose body has been lying in the streets waiting a burial. Then the ghost shows that there is a dead man on the road lying, and nobody has claimed this body, and this body is waiting for a burial. Nobody has given this person a burial, and it was no one but Scrooge himself. After his death, no one claims the body, no one wants to give him a funeral. So you see how pathetic this scene is. So no one is willing to do so unless a free lunch is provided. This all shakes Scrooge much, and he stands transformed into a true Christian and these various experiences. And now all these scenes transforms him totally. And suddenly Scrooge finds himself alone in his bedroom. And suddenly he wakes up and finds himself all alone in the bedroom. And he hears the bell announcing the Christmas day. And he hears that the bell was announcing what? Christmas day has started. Since he is a changed man, he goes to the window and calls a boy. Through him he sends a big turkey for his clerk Cratchit, and he calls a boy and buys a big turkey, a kind of animal that is a swan-like, duck-like thing. Okay, that is the turkey, and he sends it to the clerk Cratchit. Okay, then he goes to the house of his nephew Fred. He gives his wife a gift. Fred's family is pleasantly surprised. Scrooge says that he is going to be their guest, and he goes and visits Fred, and they were all very happy to receive him. Scrooge was now a changed man. He raised his clerk's salary and became a second father to Tim. He became a second father to Tim, the crippled boy, remember. He has also provided a doctor to him. He took Fred into the business. In short, he became a true Christian. And now he became a true Christian with all the good virtues of kindness, benevolence, charity. And he never saw the 3 spirits again in his life. And he kept alive the spirit of Christmas. And as long as he lived, he kept alive the spirit of Christmas, which is giving and taking, receiving, and becoming happy, merry, even though you have very little to money to spend. But becoming merry and having the virtues of benevolence, having the virtues of charity, kindness, all these he imbibed in himself, and he became a very true Christian. Okay. Now you please go through the lesson. I hope you will understand. And please, one request to you is that please listen to my video classes, because I know that most of you are not seeing. You just tap for 1 minute or 2 minutes and then you don't see it again, because the average watch duration in my channel, I can understand how many people watched and how long they watched. Average watch duration is 1 minute, 2 minutes, like that. But I am making a video of 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, for you, I am taking this pleasure. Even now my fan is switched off and I am just sweating, because if a fan is switched on, then you cannot hear the sound. Understood? So I am taking this trouble. You also please take this trouble to listen to my videos. If you don't listen to my videos, then afterwards I will also not send you any more video classes. Okay, so thank you all and have a good time, and please go through your lessons very seriously. Understood? If you don't understand anything, you can also text me, you can ask me. But please go through the lessons and go through my classes. Thank you all.